Okay, so we have been looking at World War I. We talked about the signs of the war, the causes of the war, the spark event, why America remained neutral, and now we're going to look at America entering the war. We're going to take a little bit of time to look at some of the tactics that were used, some of the technology that was used, and then we'll focus on American soldiers and the effects that they had when they enter the war. Because if you guys remember, we enter in the war in 1917, but the war began in 1914. So the war had been going on for quite some time. And we come in fresh. Okay? All right, so first off, let's look at tactics. World War I was a war that we fought using very old tactics. Okay? So when I say very old tactics, I mean like foot soldiers and fighting on horseback and using bayonets. So that very, very old style of fighting. But at the same time, we're going to start seeing new technology. And we'll talk about some of that technology here in just a minute. World War I is associated with the use of trench warfare. And what that means is that along the Eastern Front and the Western Front, they dug ditches. And they would fight from those ditches. They would fight from the ditches. And once in a while, they would, run out into no man's land. So the trench warfare happens a little bit later in the war. And it was soldiers trying to adapt to this new type of warfare. Okay, and we'll look a little bit more at trench warfare in just a second. But if you guys know old tactics, new technology. And I think that that's really interesting to look at because it shows you that this is our first modern war. The world is changing, and we're kind of catching up to that change.
Can you repeat that last part? How you said it was like what?
It was a war where we were using old tactics, but there was new technology, and that's a little symbolic of the time period. Okay, questions, comments? Okay, so all right, so there were several new technologies in World War I. Again, connect World War I with industrialization. During World War I, we're going to see the first use of telephones, wireless communication, and they would have those in the trenches, by the way. The use of poison gas, the use of mustard gas. Tomorrow, we're going to watch a video in honor of Veterans Day. And you guys are going to see some of the effects that the gases that were used had on the soldiers. And this is the first time that anything like this had been used in warfare. We're going to see the use of artillery. We're going to see the use of barbed wire, which was used in no man's land. They would make like these barriers using like cross ties and barbed wire. We're going to see the use of armored tanks, but to a lesser degree than we will in World War II. We're going to see the use of airplanes, and again, to a lesser degree than we did during World War II. The airplanes used during World War I were very, very primitive. We're going to see the use of submarines, used mostly by the Germans. The Germans will use U-boats. So you guys know that that's one of the things that led us into war. The Americans, one of the two reasons we declare war is because of the use of unrestricted submarine warfare. The other being the Zimmermann telegraph. We're going to see grenade launchers. We're going to see quite a bit of use of grenades during World War I. They would throw the grenades from the trenches. And we'll watch Sergeant York when we get back from Thanksgiving, and you'll see some of that. We'll see the use of flamethrowers, the use of machine guns, which you guys just saw in the video. Again, think of this war as like an old style of fighting and totally new type of warfare, the first modern war.